Some experiences don't arrive with clear answers. They don't announce themselves as truth or illusion. They arrive as pressure, as the feeling that attention has turned hostile, that space has narrowed, that being seen no longer feels neutral. People give this experience a name. They call it gangstalking. Not because it's neat or precise, but because they are trying to describe something that feels bigger than one person, bigger than one moment, bigger than coincidence. There is no scientific consensus that organized, hidden groups systematically target individuals in the way the term suggests. Psychology, neuroscience, criminology, none of them have confirmed that structure. But here is what is real: the fear, the exhaustion, the sense of being unable to disengage. Those things are not theories. They are lived. History tells us something important, though. Human beings have always used power, control, and social pressure to dominate others. Sometimes openly, sometimes quietly, sometimes without ever naming what they're doing. Individuals can fixate, they can harass, they can stalk. They can destabilize others to regulate their own inner chaos. Groups don't need secret meetings to amplify harm. Sometimes all it takes is silence, compliance, people looking away. And when stress compounds, when attention feels relentless, the mind does what it has always done. It searches for meaning. The brain under threat doesn't ask philosophical questions. It asks survival questions. Why is this happening? Where is it coming from? How do I make it stop? Patterns begin to emerge. Connections feel intentional. Coincidences lose their innocence. Not because the mind is broken, but because it is trying to protect itself. Here's the part we don't talk about enough. Not everything real is immediately provable, and not everything unprovable is meaningless. Science evolves, language evolves, understanding evolves. There was a time when trauma had no name, when psychological wounds were dismissed as weakness, when invisible forces shaping human behavior were called imagination. Lack of proof is not the same as lack of truth, but belief, when held too tightly, can become its own cage. So maybe the most honest place to stand is not certainty, but awareness. What if the experience called gangstalking isn't one thing? What if it's the collision of control, stress, perception, and power, filtered through a nervous system that hasn't felt safe in too long? What if the deeper question isn't, who is doing this to me, but what happens to a human mind when attention turns predatory and escape feels impossible? Consciousness doesn't expand by proving every fear true, and it doesn't expand by dismissing experience as false. It expands when we can sit inside uncertainty without letting fear define reality. Something is being experienced. Something is being felt. Something is asking to be understood more carefully than our current language allows. The danger isn't in asking the question. The danger is letting the question harden into a story that offers no exit. Awareness widens when we stay curious, when we stay grounded, when we remember that clarity doesn't always come from answers. Sometimes it comes from learning how to breathe again while the question remains.